Okay, go ahead. We are live.
All right, guys. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gamerz Realm Podcast, where we talk about anything nerdy and gaming related, mostly Nintendo, but anything gaming is basically what we talk about on here. Introducing the people that we are going to be talking with today. We have One Up Level Up, which is me. We have Retro Styles. We have, hey, Black Pikmin Trainer. Pokemon trainer.
What's going on, everybody?
We have Mr. Switch. And we also have Do You Nerd, our special guest for this evening. So welcome, guys. How are you guys doing?
Hello. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, we are pleasure to have you guys. So so if you guys wanted to start off just talking about a little bit about yourself, what you guys, got you into gaming, what why you started YouTube, and what's your favorite game?
Oh, wow. That's not a heavy question at all.
I know.
Well, I think it's pretty safe to say that both of us grew up gaming. I believe both of us even started with the Atari 2600 in our houses. So since just about the beginning. And as far as us, what got us into gaming, I mean, we just progressed with gaming as we grew up, from system to system.
Just kind of evolved with it.
Yeah. And when we got together, we were always looking for like a fun co-op game to really get into. The Lego series was a big one for us that really got us in there because, the split screen, mostly the split screen, sometimes not so split screen, but we always keep an eye out for a lot of good co-op games to play, stuff that we can
couch co-op
games. Be in the same room and play together at the same time. None of that, Super Mario Brothers, you can play when I die 4 hours later.
Which was the way it was with my dad when I played that game with him. I never got to play.
And as for favorite games, I think you've got a choice already.
My favorite game is Zombies Ate My Neighbor on the Sega Genesis.
It's like we knew you were going to ask. The problem is I always have trouble choosing between the two. So I bounce back and forth between Link to the Past and Chrono Trigger. Growing up, whenever I could earn enough money to buy a game, I always tried to go for an RPG because typically I wasn't going to beat that in a weekend setting.
I was gonna say we never really bought a whole lot of games. It was a lot of video rentals, so I didn't own a lot of games, but I played them.
I find it curious that you guys have Link to the Past, because I feel like that's a lot of people's favorite retro game or Zelda game. That's also one of mine as well. So what is it about that game that you guys really like?
I was gonna say,
for me, honestly, I really feel like the visuals have held up so well. A lot of the 16-bit stuff still looks really crisp, and the music sounds good, but it kind of felt like everything that made the original Legend of Zelda good, but they just turned it up to 11. They brought it up that extra mile. As far as the visuals, they actually laid the groundwork for a story, which compared to the NES games, they were very light on the story, at least outside of like the manual and everything. And the way that it plays, everything just feels so smooth about it. There's something about the way it's set up, the way that the gameplay feels. There's nothing wrong with jumping into it at any time.
So you would be perfectly fine if they did like a remaster of that game for like the Switch or something?
Honestly, I would. I really liked what they did with the Link's Awakening remake. And I don't have a problem with remakes when they're done well like that. I know that could be a touchy subject for some, but it's like this game isn't going anywhere. So for all the purists and everything, it's like, well, you can still play this one.
Yeah.
But when you have a remake, it does introduce a whole new audience to that game.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would love to see a remake on that game. What about you guys? You guys, how would you guys feel about that?
Dude, I would love that. I agree with Do You Nerd. I want to see if that's one remake. Link's Awakening is amazing, but imagine getting a hold of that Super Nintendo just classic, just takes you back. Like he said, the graphics really hold in real well. And if they made a remake of that, I think that would just be it. Like we arrived.
Yeah, I agree with Retro. I wanted to play in like the same style that Link's Awakening played, and if you guys played A Link Between Worlds, I wanted to play like
Yes.
exactly like those games. And like I understand like with remakes they sometimes add a lot of extra stuff and whatnot, but I want it to be almost exactly like Link's Awakening, where they add a little bit, but they don't add too much to where it takes from the originality of the game.
Yeah, I completely agree with you guys. I love that art style for that game, and I would be completely content and happy if they did that same art style with that game. You know, oh God, you know, Nintendo needs to make these games for us now.
Yeah,
agree.
I liked it because I'm super into toys, and so the whole game, the Link's Awakening, made it look like little toys running around. So
Yeah,
I'd
you're
be
right.
super happy if they did it with that same art style because I get to look at toys.
Nice. All right. Well, Mr. Switch, do you want to share with us what you were going to share with us on the podcast today?
Yeah, my topic won't be too large. Just kind of a feel what I've been thinking about the past several months, what Nintendo was up to, or what Nintendo was doing during the pandemic. It's just kind of like, what let's say, within surprises that just pop up. Like just the other day, we were all freaking out when Paper Mario came out, or just what was it called? Paper Mario. What's the title? The full title is I
The
can't say the
Origami
word.
King.
Yeah, origami. I have trouble saying that word, but yeah, it's just that's the only major thing I've seen pop up just recently. But for the past several months, I've been kind of dying, like, what's happening? But I understand that with this pandemic, it's just kind of, everything's been held back. A lot of games are pushed to next year. Games were like, again, with some other games that just were coming out, again, not no more. They are coming out again. It's sometimes it feels confusing for me. Like, again, I'm disappointed for a lot of things, but then it's really not Nintendo's fault. It's no one's fault. It's just every company, whether it's Sony or whatever. But we want something more. We want, let's say, the Direct. June is coming, like, right, what 2 weeks or so or less, and people are saying that there's not going to be a Direct for June. No, of course there's no E3, but no Direct. There's no official sources saying there isn't going to be a Direct. But Nintendo always seems to surprise us. So I'm having a lot of faith and hope with what's happening, and I just want to hear what you guys think and feel about, is Nintendo just going to keep us in the hiding in one thing per month, or you think they're just going to go all blow out in June?
I'm going to touch on this. I'm trying to stay faithful on everything that's going on. I mean, the fact that they gave us Paper Mario, that's awesome. That means that they're still putting in work. They're trying to work on releases and whatnot. But like you said, the pandemic is happening. We have a lot of people working remote. And when you're doing something as creative as like creating a video game or whatnot, working remote's hard because you're communicating with people via like, IM, Skype, Zoom, whatever platform that you decide to use. So the creativity, like, there's a delay in there because when you're working with multiple groups of people, multiple departments, and doing everything they can in a video game. I'm really afraid, because I'm a huge Pokemon fan, as you guys know. I'm really afraid that they're going to delay our expansion pass that was supposed to come out at the end of June. And, usually with games like Pokemon, the Game Freak, they just leak information, like not leak, but they release information. They let us know what's going on. And, they've been pretty quiet since March, and they already delayed one of the Pokemon movies that was supposed to come out in July. And the same company that make the movies also are a big part of making the video games as well. So I am very curious to see, what's going to happen with the Pokemon company, especially since they work very closely with Nintendo, and just a lot of stuff is in the air right now.
Yeah. Usually with Nintendo, we're kind of like Nintendo Directs kind of literally direct us to where where Nintendo is going to lead us for this year. This is the first year that we really don't know really anything. We know one game, maybe two games, up until July. And E3 is usually a huge time for us gamers. We look forward to it. It's like my Super Bowl for gamers,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And the fact that we're not going to have that this year, I even took like a week's vacation for that week this year because I was really looking forward to it, and the fact that we're not going to have that really disappoints me. However, I understand, with the circumstances, they can't do that. I really hope, because I heard somewhere that Nintendo wasn't going to do a Direct until late summer, later this year. I really hope that's not, not true, because I want to know what they're doing for this year. We've had all these different rumors of these Mario games coming out, and I'm all for that if that happens. But I kind of wanted to pick your guys' brains. What did you guys think? Like, if instead of doing Nintendo Directs, if they just like stealth drop these trailers on their YouTube channel or on Twitter, how would you feel about that if they start doing that moving forward from here?
I'd like to touch on that. My wife and I are big, we're Googlers. So we like information. Yeah, it's like in our age where we grew up, you didn't really have that information at your disposal. So when you found out about new Nintendo games for the OG Game Boy, you found out in the store, Nintendo Power magazines, local Walmart, wherever. But now that you have all this information, it's great though, because the directs are cool and I like the directs. But I mean, if they're just come out and be like, poof, there it is. That's like your meal ticket. You're like, oh wow, 2 months. It's like you're kind of chomping at the bit, wondering when the next one's gonna come out. So for us, we saw the Origami King. We're like, what? Like July? Like where did that come from? So like we're like, okay, well, what's next? I mean, people are predicting. I don't know if it's true, but I see a lot of YouTubers talking about it, about Pikmin. So
yeah,
a lot of people are talking about Pikmin 3, and I don't know if it's true, but when there's a lot of buzz going around with people like Spawnwave and RGT85 and all them, they create a lot of buzz. It's not necessarily true, but in most oftentimes later months, it usually is. So I'm curious to see if it really is going to come out. But I really, me personally, I like that. I like the stealth drop, because then I'm like, oh, okay, well, I know what to plan for in the next couple of months. Plan for a new game. Like I said, the directs get us prepared, but stealth dropping to me is like right on. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I do like that they stealth drop that. But it came at a really bad time for me because I was at work and I'm impatient. I can't wait to like watch the trailer and give like a reaction on my channel. Like it was what I usually do. But I ended up watching on my break. So I really didn't, and they showed the title like right in the video. So I already knew what it was going to be before they even showed it. That was one thing I like about the directs. It's kind of surprising. Like you see a trailer, like, oh my gosh, what is this? Is this the game I've been waiting for years? But instead, you already, because of the title and stuff, you already know what it's going to be. And you're like, okay, well, let's see what they have, I mean, it's best of both worlds. I mean, I like both aspects of it. I kind of wish they would do a little bit of both. But I really hope the directs do not go away. I mean, they're fun to watch. You know what I mean?
The one thing I want to add to that is that, in my opinion, they could do a direct, because if they're working remotely right now, I feel like they could do a direct. But I don't know. With a different leader, maybe they're taking a different direction. But like you said, the directs are cool. I'm like with you. The directs are cool because you get all this cool stuff. But then the stealth drops are cool because then you're like, oh, crud. But for people like you who like doing the reaction videos, which are great, because I watch your reaction videos. I love those. Those are cool.
Thanks,
and
man.
So I like watching those. That's how I get to be like, oh, I'm stoked. This game's cool. Or like, this game's all right. You get a feel for it. So best of both worlds is cool. But we'll see what happens going forward.
Absolutely.
I feel like with the directs, there's almost like a sense of pageantry to them, because they can do a lot of that build up. And even when or you have at least a really good idea of what's coming next, of what they're announcing, just that fun, there's like an added build up, even though you're already excited for the game that's coming out.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I miss the pageantry of the directs.
That's good. Yep.
All right. Well, Retro, do you want to bring up your topic?
Yeah. Speaking of Nintendo, I saw the coolest thing. I don't know why it's creating such a buzz, but Nintendo, I believe that it was June 5th. They are coming out with a 51, which is an odd number, but that's okay. 51 games in one, and they're tabletop games, and it's 4 players. It has simple things like backgammon and chess, and like a racing car game where you build the tracks, and just different puzzle style games. But it's cool because of the pandemic that we're in. It kind of brings those people together. So you can play chess with your friends across the globe or across the United States. To me, that's a win, because again, I probably sound old when I'm saying it, but people in our area, we kind of were grandfathered into playing checkers, chess, things like that when the video games were rolling in. So that to me, I'm pretty excited for it. Now I see why people were excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, backgammon. I didn't realize people still played that anymore. Chess is cool. Checkers. My aunt raised us on that stuff. So it was like, man, and a game that has 51 games in one tabletop game. So if level 1 up wasn't doing anything, hey, what are you doing? Let's play some chess. Oh, okay. And you know what I mean? Just something simple like that.
Careful what you wish for. You don't want a face man chest. I'm just saying.
Oh.
Now,
Here we go.
Scotland's throne.
knowledge. Woo!
Yeah, I just had to do that, man. Yeah, I'm with you, dude. That was a pretty exciting game that they're releasing, and it's coming out in like a week or two, right? Like the 5th or something.
So it's
Yeah.
close.
Yeah, we already have that pre-ordered. We're pretty excited because we come from a board game family. Like we just love playing board games besides video games, and this is like the best of both worlds. You know, I don't know what some of those games are. I'm interested to see what the Maugagi or whatever some of those weird names are.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to try them all out, and I guess there's a really really good tutorial for each of the games, so that that way you're not lost and you know what to do. And they're bringing back Wii Sports bowling, baby.
There you go. Yep.
I
have to ask you guys this. I have to ask you guys this since we're on the topic. What is your opinion on the price point? Because I learned that today it's going for $39.99.
I think that's a fair price, honestly. Like I was expecting it to be $60 just because that's Nintendo. That's what they do. But $40 is a fair price for 51 games. That's what, like less than like around 60 cents a game or whatever. So, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, yeah.
It's cheaper than an actual board game.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
That's true.
True.
Fair, very fair.
And not only that, you get 51.
Exactly.
Yes.
52 if you count the piano.
Yeah.
Oh,
I honestly think this is awesome. I'm excited for it. I said that on the podcast before that I really, really, really want to get my dad a Nintendo Switch really bad. He recently had some medical issues, and I feel like him having a Nintendo Switch and being able to use just one controller on one hand will be as awesome for him. But like now that we have the opportunity to play dominoes, which is like a huge family game for us, that's awesome. Like it makes me like really want to get him a Switch even more. But as you know, they're like it's hard to find them. It's like paper towels right now. So.
Well, I think it's also good if we're still going to be stuck at home. And you can't have, your game nights when you have a bunch of people over for game nights. It really helps out. You can still have your game nights. You just do it from home.
that's true. Remotely gaming. That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, it seems like it's coming out at the perfect time, just like Animal Crossing. Everyone's home, everyone's, nothing else to do. Well, let's play a simple board game and something that everyone can understand. It's pretty easy. And, I don't know. I mean, you get a nice variety there too. Do you guys know if all the games are playable online though? I'm not sure.
All they said was online gameplay. It was kind of like vague. So I'm assuming they all are, but I don't want to say for sure, but all they said was online gameplay up to 4 players. So I'm not sure if it's 4 players online with other 4 players, which would be amazing. So it was kind of vague, but we'll see. I mean, I hope it is, because imagine if you had I know chess and checkers is only mano y mano, so you can't really do that unless you have some kind of super game going on. Who knows? That'd be kind of crazy, but we'll see.
Have some kind of weird 8-player chess variant going on.
I think they tried that on Big Bang and it didn't work out so well.
Oh yeah. Speaking of board games, I want to slip this in real quick. My sister, for I believe it was either Christmas or Father's Day, bought me a Super Mario Kart Monopoly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got that. That's fun.
I don't have it right here in front of me. It's in my game area, but it's super cool because we actually went to the 99-cent only store, and for a brief time they were selling the rest of the characters there. So I was able to acquire the rest of the
Nice.
characters for the game. And it's cool. And it's not like your typical Monopoly. It's just like Mario Kart. You have your 8
Mhm.
rounds. You can do between 1 and 8 rounds. You pick the card, it has a turtle shell, and the dice have it on there. It's really, really super cool. So if you guys ever think about making that purchase, just do it. Just do it. It's cool.
That's awesome that you brought that up. I'm gonna share a little story with you guys, something you don't know about me. And Do You Nerd, you guys will probably appreciate this. I don't collect I don't really collect like toys and things like that. Not even really video games. But it's one thing I do collect. I'm kind of a nerd about are board games, and more specifically Monopoly. And I have probably close to 25 to 30 different variants of Monopoly in my house.
Wow. You got me beat on the Monopoly game. I've got quite a few, but not that many.
Yeah, like every time I see a new version of Monopoly, I have to get it. Like we just played last weekend with my son, my wife, Cheaters Edition, which is amazing. Basically the whole game you're just trying to cheat and steal money and stuff like that, and it's a lot of fun. So that's one thing I've always kind of like. It's kind of a stupid thing to collect, but it's something that I always thought was kind of cool.
That's an awesome thing to collect.
I don't think it's stupid at all. They've made so many, and for a while they were doing cities, which was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think they do that anymore. But back in the day, whenever I would travel to a new place, I would buy the Monopoly of that city and everything. So I think it's really cool. There's a bunch of fun ones out there.
Oh yeah. I have major city monopolies. I have like New York City, I have Pittsburgh, I have Washington, and my hometown.
Nice.
And there's one I want to get that I have not found yet, which is Legend of Zelda. I have no idea where to find that, but I want that one.
That sounds hard to find.
Wait, what? Wait,
Nice.
Zelda? I got a Zelda and a Pokemon one in my collection, and I bought from Mason. I bought his game room, and I think I might have it.
Really?
I got it. We gotta talk later.
Rub that in, man.
Because I like to find people who deserve things, and I know like I've been actually giving away these certain things. I got too much of the same thing. I got maybe 2 Pokemon Monopolies. I got a Zelda Monopoly. I got all these things are just overwhelming in my place. Like, man, I bought all this shit. Man,
super jealous.
But the thing is, I was just playing what's that game? I forgot the names. All these big square of sticks you pull out from the side.
Kerplunk?
Jenga?
Jenga. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the Mario Bros one. You got Mario and Princess Donkey Kong and Princess on the top, and you put this little Mario.
I've been looking all over for that, dude.
Dude, it's so awesome.
That
so
one
hard to
is
find.
because you can put Mario like in the
The
blocks
box
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, we
fun.
played that one. That one's hard.
That's
The
awesome.
rules are cool. I mean, just kind of different, and like I said, I got a whole bunch of pens. So either way, we can always trade stuff, guys. Don't worry.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Yeah. Have our own little trading group.
I can't trade my Mario Bros arcade 1983 made in Japan #4. I can't trade that one. That's forever to carry into the house, and there it is. So, hey, real quick, guys, I wanted to ask, Do You Nerd? I see that you guys do a lot of things with X-Men. You guys do movie reviews. What other things you guys do? Like everything besides to say gaming.
The funny thing is, she actually has a really nice movie collection. And when we started the channel, we had every intention of delving into like movies and TV shows and reviewing those. And time just does not work for us. Usually by the time we get to the end of the month, I mean, we're starting to cycle through other things again. And it keeps getting pushed to the back burner. I think for the longest time, we had a stack of movies that they were going to be our review starters.
Yeah.
And eventually we're like, okay, it's been like a year and a half. This isn't happening. It's time to put these up, unfortunately.
Yeah, but we like to do, we show off unboxings of mystery boxes. We do toy unboxings. We go to a lot of conventions and Renaissance festivals and just like little festivals around town, just trying to bring awareness to what's local and to make people check out their own local events.
Yeah, I was watching. I was seeing some of that too. I love the Renaissance Fair, so it's just something that here in Wisconsin that I tend to try to go to every year. But that's cool. I like to see the different things you guys do, so I definitely want to stay
Oh,
in contact even afterwards.
yeah, you should show off some of those Ren fairs.
Yeah.
Show us what we're missing out on.
Yeah, yeah. I got some videos I made, and we'll talk. We'll talk. We'll
Yeah,
stay in good
definitely.
contact. Cool.
Yeah.
Back to the movies, I think one of the last things we did movie related was all of the Deadpool like false covers of
Yes.
movies. Was it like a Fox line of movies?
That was a lot of fun.
And it was what were some of the films? It was just like all kinds of random ones, like Dirty Dancing, I think was one.
Yeah, he did his own
Classic.
cover of all of the X-Men movies, of course.
But as far as like
Yeah.
movie reviews, I think that was the closest thing that we did most recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, on top of like games, I love watching movies myself. I'm kind of a movie buff. I actually started with movies before I started into gaming, and I have a huge collection. It's not as big as it used to. I used to have a whole entire wall of movies, but in recent years, I kind of just had to sell them, to get down my collection. Now I only have that little bit behind me, which is still a lot for, of one family. But yeah, I mean, I cut it down. I'm kind of focusing more on gaming now. But like my wife and I, we just went through the entire series of the Marvel movies. We watched every single movie in order.
Ooh.
Not of release, just chronological order, which was really, really exciting because I caught a lot of things I didn't watch or didn't catch before. That's what I like to do every once in a while. I'll take like something I have a collection of, and I'll just like watch every single one of them and just kind of give my thoughts on it and see what I like about it, what I don't like about it, stuff. I don't do anything like that for my channel, but just something for me. I don't know, something weird that I do, but it's like,
If you watch a movie a lot, like several times, I love finding movie mistakes. And I'll find a lot of it like in Lord of the Rings. So you'll always, wait, you'll see something.
One thing that I used to do as a kid is I used to like pause a movie at a certain spot and see if I can get some like really, really funny stills. I still kind of do that to this day, like especially like Disney movies. You can get a lot of funny ones with Disney movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really can.
Speaking of Disney, have you guys seen the Beauty and the Beast version? But somebody tweaked it to where she was talking about like the coronavirus. It's viral all over.
No.
Not seen that.
I'll share it on Twitter. Once we're done with all this, I'll share it on Twitter later. It is funny. My wife's a big fan of Beauty and the Beast. I mean, she has a collection of stuff. And she was like, babe, are you serious? I was like, oh, I totally am. This is funny.
I just think it's absolutely insane. Like there are certain video games that came out and certain movies that came out. Either it came out recently or it came out like back in the day. It's like you don't expect things to relate to the coronavirus, but there are so many things that do, and it's absolutely insane. Like Resident Evil 3, for example, came out around the time when we were like all started to like board up and get inside our houses and whatnot. And like just the way like they described everything just kind of just like goes to how things are being described right now or back how it was in April. And I just find it funny and insane at the same time.
I was thinking the same thing ever since our new neighbor Nemesis moved in. I mean, he's a nice guy. He keeps to himself.
Wow.
He's obsessed with like astrology, always talking to stars or something. But
I would move fast if I was you.
Well, if he ever wants to come down to California, he can. He would have a great time out here.
Speaking of California, how are you guys doing over there? Like, are you guys still locked down over there in California?
They reopened certain counties, but like there's very strict still. So they're doing things, but we're getting there slowly. The county that I live in is currently like still like on the whole lockdown, stay at home order.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say like our county is kind of like in a mix-up right now because like in order to get everything under wraps and there's certain fundings are allowed for the county, all the counties have to comply, like just to keep everybody safe. That way there's less of a spread of the pandemic. And 2 of the 3 major cities in our and where we happen to be where we live, and I told my wife, I'm not a part of this. I live here, but they're choosing to step into phase 3 at certain parts, even though it's against the governor's orders. So that to me, I was like, no, I'm not that person. We're just gonna do what we continue doing, and if they get fined or their license is pulled, that's cool. But as far as it goes, it's business as normal. Like we're not, we have the masks. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sporting those Super Mario masks. But
I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely over the masks. I have to wear one at work, and it's just it's I can't breathe with those things. It's driving me nuts. But we are in a yellow right now. Our governor just kind of opened up Pennsylvania a little bit, but like because the last 3 days we've actually had more outbreaks of the virus than we've ever had. We had like 20 yesterday. And so I don't know if we're going to go back on lockdown or if they're going to go ahead with, trying to open things back up. But it's kind of what I'm, was afraid of, is once they open up everything, all the attractions and stuff back up, everyone's going to swarm there, and then things are going to go back to square one again. So I don't know what's going to happen.
That's what happened over here. We got a report yesterday that there were 77 new cases and 1 death in our county. So to me, I'd rather just be a part of the good cause and just do what we've been doing since April and going forward. That way, when it's time, then we'll make the proper precautions to go back. Like at work, we're still following California work. I work for the school board, for the school, not school board, but the school. So we follow everything the state guidelines tells you. Like you said, go to work with these masks on, gloves, all that fun stuff. And it's cool. Like to me, I told my wife this, and my wife and I are close, but I feel like during this time, her and I have gotten like a lot closer. So I think things are like on a positive note. Like for me, just personally, it's getting better. Like I get to work all day and I don't get to see my kids till I get off work. I get to learn more about my kids. And so this is a good time. To me, personally, positively, I think it's a good time.
Absolutely, man.
On a positive note, yeah.
Yeah, and like I think this is gonna really help people kind of slow down their lives. Like I'm always go all the time. I would do this, do that, do this, do that, and I have no time to really just settle down and really focus on my family a lot. And I kind of like that. We just, that's like what we're focused on, number one. And then, it's also helping people with their finances too. Trying to stock up money, don't be spending all the time. Just kind of just doing, focusing on what's important in life. And so, I mean, if we can all learn something from this and get something positive from it, then that's what it's going to be, man.
Yes, because now I can upgrade my computer, my gaming computer. I can buy these consoles. I can buy these video games.
Oh, man. Talking about it, you know what? I'll say this real quick. It is terrible what's happening. It is kind of like how everything began. It's, it's bad. I actually have a family member who has this. And from the girl's side, it's just happening. But the positive thing, I guess, like we're saying, is that it's bringing us all together, and we're just hanging in no matter what's happening. I help I'll send some food to my brother in Chicago where he's quarantined, and hopefully today he should be officially. He got out of it. He was just in it big maybe a few weeks ago. They're saying he's at the recovery stages, so it looks like he might not even have it. So it's weird. So it's just kind of like it happens and you get lucky and you get out of it. But I think people who get it now they're surviving through it more often than in the beginning. It was worse. But in the meantime, as we're quarantined, I actually don't mind, staying at home. I take care of my son, Luigi. He's 1 year old, and I'm just changing diapers all day. And this is not the funnest thing, but I'm gaming it. I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm enjoying that part the best I can. Because again, I feel like it's not going to go away for a while, so we're going to keep doing this. So now we decided to do a podcast, and look where we're at. We got these awesome people, Do You Nerd, and we got our guests in, and we have a nice community. We're all building together. We're finding other communities. We're getting involved. That's a positive note. I think I can say, besides, the sad stuff going on, but again, yeah, it's good. I love, gaming it. I do feel like, oh man, it's like, I might get that check I want to spend that money, like buy me some games. And then I'm like, damn it. My girl's like, we need to pay the bills. Like, shit. You know, like I get one thing.
Just
You know, can I give me the Last of Us Collector's Edition? You know, I'll say something like that. It's my money. She's like, but we gotta pay the bills. So it's like we manage it. We manage it as best we can, and we work it together. We you know, again, it's cool. You know, I'm enjoying my time. You know, again, how this is working out, and we just gotta stay safe as possible.
All right. Well, Black Pokemon Trainer, would you like to do your subject that you were going to talk about tonight?
Yes, I will. Let me, because I was supposed to do some stuff right here real quick. Give me a second. So, yep, I am loud. Sorry, guys. So, as far as I know, as long as I know, we always had limited edition consoles, which were consoles that were sold at a premium, but it was a little bit different than your standard black PlayStation 2, your purple GameCube, your black Xbox, your white Xbox 360, so on and so forth. And limited edition consoles it hasn't always been something that I collected, but it's something that I started collecting as of recently. And I have a lot of them. One of them is, and I'm sorry, Lacey.
I know it.
The Spider-Man limited edition console, which cost me a fortune. I got the Animal Crossing console. I got a limited edition
Oh, don't
Xbox
talk about
One.
the Animal Crossing one. No.
I waited out. So, like, I want to bring this question to you guys because limited edition consoles has always been a thing in my heart, and I know you guys seen a lot of limited edition consoles come out, especially like within the last 10 years. Which one is your favorite? Like, what do you guys like?
You know, I really liked a lot of the handhelds that Nintendo was putting out, both with the DS and the 3DS. Trying to narrow it down to one is rough, but some of the Zelda ones, of course, I mean, that's always going to strike a chord with me. But things like the NES style one of the 3DS, and then I think even the Super Nintendo one.
Yeah,
I really like that they were kind of paying tribute, you know, to their own history with those designs. You know, it wasn't just game centered, but it was, you know, it looks like an NES. It's even got the color scheme on the buttons on the inside.
I just wish that they would flip the image so that when it's open, it's not upside down.
Right. You bring up a good point, Tom, because one of my favorite 3DS consoles was the Link Between Worlds limited edition console, that 3DS that they had, and I thought that was beautiful. It was literally it was the first 3DS I ever had, and probably the only 3DS I only had. And I loved it so much. The design was just awesome. The color was awesome. One of my favorites too.
I don't usually collect them, but there's one that my wife got me. It was my 3DS. It's like a Super Mario. I don't know if you can see it right here.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's black on the inside, so that's kind of boring. But like, I like the fact that we have Luigi and Mario.
Yeah, Luigi on the back is pretty cool.
Yeah. But that's like the only one I ever really got into. I really was hoping that when they released the Switch, there would be a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild limited edition console.
Right.
Not sure why they didn't do it. That was a missed opportunity on their part, but
yeah,
Really? Yeah,
we were really shocked that, especially they came out around the same time and everything, like with the lights. Why they didn't at least come out with like a colored for the light?
Yeah. Like the dock shields.
Yeah, the dock shields or something.
yeah.
But you know what they gave us instead? They gave us the Splatoon controller within the same year.
Yep. I also have that right there.
Nice.
That's why I play with every single time.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
I like something. I don't consider it special edition, but I have it's old school Sega Genesis with my Sega CD adapter and the 32X on top. To me, that's all like all. I don't know.
Sorry.
It's not like I said, it's retro. That's who I am. But to me, that's considered special edition because you really can't get that stuff hardly anymore. It's like hard to find.
Right.
Yeah,
But
so
not,
I still
not
have
even
it in the
its
box.
original or it's finished.
He's rocking the Tower of Power.
Yep.
The Tower of Power, baby.
It's like I don't
And
remember.
it all still works too.
You bring up a good point,
Nice.
Retro, because I don't remember like how, because I think it was like maybe 10, maybe 15 years ago. My dad was trying to find like an Atari that works. So my dad bought like, I think 7 different Atari consoles. 6 of them didn't work. And then the 7th one did.
Nice.
And like just trying to get it across like a working console that's that old it's difficult,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, that's the hard part about you know, the older these systems get, the harder it is to find one that works. You know, I really I sold a lot of my consoles. Like I only have a Switch, a Wii U, and an Xbox 360. I sold all my other Nintendo consoles, and I'm really kicking myself in the face now because like I really the GameCube was awesome. I wish I would have at least kept that one, but oh well.
you have a Wii. I mean, let's start there. You have a Wii.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
mean, I recently bought a Nintendo 64 like in the last 3 years, and I think I dropped 120 on it.
Wow. And the reason why I still have the Wii is because I actually still play games on it, believe it or not.
Right? I was playing Donkey
So do
Kong.
we.
I have a lot of virtual consoles on my Wii. I mean, my Wii's like literally
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
right there. And I was
Yep.
playing Donkey Kong.
I have the original Paper Mario on my Wii.
There you go.
Very nice.
Yeah.
My brother, a few years ago, I got a Wii from my grandma. This is before the Switch and everything, so this was quite a few years ago. But he unlocked my Wii, and I was like, dude, are you sure this is okay? That's He's all, no, that's cool. And I'm like, all right, dude, if I get in trouble, it's on you, bro. But I've had that thing for like 10 years, and it's still like rocks the Wii. We bought a few new remotes with then we found this place that sells skins for the Wiimotes. So we bought the skins, and then we bought the plastic rubber pieces. We bought a bunch of cool stuff for it. It was cheap, and that's how we rock it. And then we have the Switch too, but the Wii, that's how I believe now. If you want a limited edition like Wii or something, I think you got to build it yourself almost.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They sell skins and stuff for those. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, the limited edition stuff now, especially now that we're all in quarantine and like the people have a little bit more disposable income because they're not using gas and whatnot, it's difficult. So if you guys want to get it, stand outside of Best Buy. You know what to do.
They can't do that 6 feet apart. I didn't tell you that.
No.
Well, when last time I stood out was like in the middle of March. I wasn't thinking about standing 6 feet apart. I was thinking about punching somebody to get my Animal Crossing Switch.
Oh, I know. I highly regret not pre-ordering that thing.
I wanted that so bad, but I couldn't. I wasn't gonna shell out, another $300 just for another Switch console. I just don't.
See,
That was us.
That was us, because it's like, well, he has a Switch. I had a Switch Lite. I didn't see the need for it. I mean, I always loved the Animal Crossing games, but I was like, I don't need another one. But then I regretted it because the more and more I looked at the system, I just thought it was pretty in and of itself. And then, this Animal Crossing rendition has been the best of all of them so far. And so it's like, I really wish I had got that. So
I will say this. Having a second Nintendo Switch, even though they are extremely expensive still, $300, or $199 if you do a Lite, having a second console if you have someone else that games in the household is extremely useful.
Well, I know. That's what I mean, though. I mean, he's got a Switch. I've got the Switch Lite. So we didn't see the need to have a third for not another third person. It's just the two of us. So
yeah, that was our issue too. Like, my wife has one, my son has one, and I have one. So like, we don't really need another fourth console. I was kicking myself in the face that we spent that much money on 3 consoles. I don't want to spend 4th. So
right. Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything they would like to add before we close up shop for the night?
Just a real quick question. Actually, I have to give the credit to Retro Rick for posting this, but he was talking about at what point do you stop thinking of a console as being modern and you start thinking of it as retro? Because I keep rolling it through my mind. things like the Wii, I don't know. I still kind of put that into the modern console market, but like the PS2, I don't know where I stand on that.
I will say
Like
this: when they stop selling used games at GameStop.
It's a good way to look at it.
So basically, the Wii would be retro in your eyes.
Yeah, I hate admitting it.
Our
but
GameStop still sells Wii and Wii U, so
Really?
Well, have you guys looked at the Wii U prices online because of the pandemic? They're expensive.
They are,
Mhm.
yeah.
I've been looking because my sister and my brother-in-law, they wanted a Nintendo Switch, and I was like, guys, you picked the wrong time right now. They're kind of far in between. And I went to look for a Wii. They're not bad. They're $159, but the Wii U went for like $400 and something.
What?
The Wii U.
the Wii U.
Wow! Holy
Yeah.
crap! For a console that was pretty much dead, that's really shocking to me.
Yeah.
I mean, they must have really wanted to play their remakes of Twilight Princess and Wind
Oh, I want
Waker.
that so bad. I want that right now. I want the Twilight Princess on the Switch right now.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
do
why are they not on the Switch? Come on.
Just saying.
So almost 20.
So,
My thing about that whole thing is that, to me, I grew up in that area, so the games, I know they are retro, but to me it's just a game. I don't consider it
Yeah.
retro because that's what we grew up on. But just looking at it from everybody else's perspective, I'm with you guys where my Wii, I don't really consider it retro because it has like the motion controls. It kind of gets out of the barrier of physical meets digital. So like the PS2 can be kind of questionable depending on if you have the fat system or the slim system, because you can connect the networking cable to the back. So that kind of meets the digital end a little bit. Excuse me. So I think, in my opinion, where it starts getting retro is PS1. I think PS2 borderline, but then you hit PS3, GameCube esque. I believe that could be considered retro, but then you have the discs like the PS1. So I think on Nintendo's end, the GameCube is kind of where it stops, and then the PS network, I think the PS1 is where it stops. My opinion.
I mean, let's be honest here. Going back to the PS2, there hasn't been a console that has a longevity like the PS2. They're still selling like well into the 2010s. Their online networks for a good portion of their games are still online until, I want to say, 2014, 2015, give or take. I can't consider the PS2 retro yet. PlayStation 1.
If I was a legal adult when it came out, it's not retro.
I wasn't an adult when it came out. I was in high school.
I was an adult when it came out, so it's not retro.
I still have a PS2 and it works, and I have games for it.
Old enough to drink with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I had my own apartment when it came out, so therefore.
And I'm gonna say how old I was when the PS2 came out. I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.
I'm old and I admit it.
Yeah, I'm the youngest one here, so I don't even know how old I was, but it was probably really young.
Yeah, I was definitely under 10 when the PS2 came out.
I'm not afraid to admit, I'm turning 40 in August, so I'm feeling good about it. I feel young.
Nice.
I feel young.
Hey, I'm right behind you, Mr. Switch. I'm hitting 37 this year.
All right.
I'll see. I'm older than you. So.
Hey, but respectfully, women should never reveal their age. So, men, don't even ask. You'll get in trouble.
Well,
He's been taking notes.
Yeah.
I have some
Take
milestones
notes.
birthdays coming up in like the next month, and then my milestone birthday is coming up in February. I turned 30, so yeah.
Oh.
Mhm.
Well, never mind. I'm not the youngest. Nice. But you are older than my wife. My wife just turned 29 about a week ago. So.
Oh yes, I have someone beat.
Speaking of never telling, a woman's age, well, I just told her. So.
Oh.
She says it
one up.
All right.
Have
Oh,
fun
yeah.
with that
You
talk,
can
buddy.
stay here, it's
We've got a futon. you can
Doghouse
sleep on.
tonight.
I don't learn. All right.
That's what
Yeah, you got anything? Anyone? Does anyone else have anything else to add?
Not to make it quick. I just want to say thank you for all you guys for showing up. All my buddies from retro, from Black to One Up, especially our guests here today, Tom and Lacey, and representing the YouTube channel of Do You Nerd. Their link to their Twitter and their YouTube is in the description. So go ahead and subscribe to their channels, follow them. They're great people. And again, everyone, subscribe, follow each other. We all know a little bit about each other, and let's stay connected because we can grow from here and move forward. So this is something nice. That's what I want to say, and I thank you everyone for joining us tonight.
Yeah, and I just want to give you guys just a quick reminder before we head out. Team catch up, team catch up, team catch up.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
I'll get you some French fries. It's okay.
Hey!
Mayo's winning. I heard Mayo's winning.
oh,
I haven't jumped on today yet.
I haven't either. As soon as I jump on, it's over, dude. Well, we want to thank you guys so much for joining us this week. It was a lot of fun. You guys are awesome. So everyone, make sure you guys follow them and follow each other. And I guess we'll see you guys all next week for another podcast. So thank you guys so much and have a great night.
Tom and
Thank
Lacey,
you
it's
very
great
much.
having
We had
you
fun.
on tonight.
Good night,
Thank
guys.
you so much, guys.
You're welcome.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Good
Good
night.
night.
If I can turn this thing off. I always
That's
have
a
trouble
problem,
trying
yeah.
to. Okay, there's a red button here. So